What is up, guys? It is Kitsos from Coastline, and today I will be ranking the 12 coasters I rode across 3 days at Great Adventure. Keep in mind these are just my opinions, so take this ranking with a grain of salt. Keep in mind I have not ridden El Toro or Little Devil Coaster, so without further ado, let's get into this ranking. At number 12, we have Harley Quinn Crazy Train. This is a Bizarro Tivoli coaster, large model, and rides just like the other clones of it do. I've done a couple of them now. It offers a relatively smooth but completely forceless ride experience that is basically a double helix layout. Also to note about these large Tivoli coasters is that their trains are ridiculously long, like 20 cars long. So basically it does have a push and pull effect over the hills, which is a nice touch, but it still has no force per se.
Considering it's not even tubular steel, it's iron squares, it's pretty smooth. Yep.
At number 11, we have Dark Knight Coaster. Now, do not get me wrong, I like this coaster for what it is, but that is the thing. It is a basic Wild Mouse coaster with some really solid theming on a good part of the ride. The theming elements do make the ride significantly better than an average Mack Mouse, but again, it is still a Mack Mouse. And the Great Adventure lineup is obviously absolutely stacked, so this one doesn't really stack up, no pun intended, to the rest of these major coasters. The lateral force is also really solid, as is the case with all the Mack Mice out there, although this one was a little better because it wasn't as braked as some of them. I found this one to have some parts that were definitely minimally braked, but there were some parts that were very heavily braked as well, so it was kind of a mixed bag with this one, which at times became uncomfortable, by the way, the heavy braking. But overall, this is a solid coaster that I did not mind giving a ride. I wouldn't really ride it again unless it had no line, but hey, it's still a solid ride.
Yeah, it was. I didn't even see that one coming. I didn't see that coming.
Definitely not a smooth one.
Huh?
Definitely not a smooth one. Had some jolts.
At number 10, we have Skull Mountain. This ride is unique in its layout, but it is quite short and rather boring at times. It's definitely a family coaster, but for what it is, the families will get a great kick out of this, including the fact that the majority of the ride, except part of the lift hill, is completely enclosed and it's pitch dark in there. I find that to be really a cool element of the ride because you really don't know what's coming next, which twist or turn you're going to hit, and that diving drop off one of the mid-courses or whatever, or the mid-course, is freaking awesome. I think it's a mid-course, unless it's hard to tell what's going on, so that's kind of that's why I don't know. That being said, thrill seekers will be left wanting more than what they got, but the families will definitely enjoy it. And it is a short ride as well, like really, really short. It's under 1,400 feet long, so that's definitely a shorter ride for the park. In fact, it's one of their shortest rides, period. At number 9, we have the Joker. This is your standard off-the-shelf 40 free spin coaster that offers a moderate amount of flips compared to the others and solid intensity. The ride experience is very disorientating to the point where some, myself included, might get sick from the ride. I do not find this ride enjoyable per se, but I do not find them bad either, these free spins. But I definitely think I would enjoy them more if my nausea tolerance was much higher. But even with Mechlizine, these get me a little too woozy for me to thoroughly enjoy the ride. But as it stands now, it is a below average experience for me due again to that nausea.
Whoa.
At number 8, we have Batman the Ride, the B&M inverted bat clone at the park. Now hear me out. I love Batman clones to death, but this one was very rattly, to the point where my teeth were chattering from the vibration. Do not mistake this for roughness though, as the ride had very little to no headbanging, but it was quite obvious that the ride had seen better days, at least in my opinion. Now it could have always ridden like this, but somehow I definitely doubt it. Maybe I caught it right before a wheel change for all I know, because that can cause a ride to run more rattly if it's about to get its wheels changed. They've been worn out a little bit. But I just know that while more intense than some others, it was on the weaker side overall due to that rattle. I will say that the overall intensity was very good. Not quite over Georgia level, but pretty good for a Batman invert. So that's basically really my reasoning there, because it's just so rattly.
Wing over! Woo! Oh man! This is so intense!
At number 7, we have the Runaway Mine Train, the Aero Mine Train at the park. Yes, I know. I really know that this is going to get me blasted. But in fact, this entire list is going to get me blasted in the comments section, so why the heck not? And oh, by the way, I do not care that that's going to happen. These are just my opinions. Take them as such. The reason for this particular controversial ranking is the final 2 hills in the back row of Runaway Mine Train. They give standing ejector airtime. Yes, standing ejector airtime on a mine train. This ejector honestly rivals Magnum's airtime run at the end of that ride. I was so stunned that this little, insignificant, tiny mine train that nobody talks about literally packs such a punch. So, yes, I just put a mine train above a B&M invert. No, I don't regret it. And yes, you should definitely make this a must ride in the back row at Great Adventure. It may be a little bumpy, but come on, guys, you gotta do it. I mean, seriously, you just got to. At the number 6 spot, we have Superman Ultimate Flight, a B&M flying coaster Superman clone here at Great Adventure. Now, of course, these are always fun rides. I really enjoyed these B&M Superman clones. They're really good, solid rides. I do love a good Superman clone, as always. Whether over Georgia, Great Adventure, or Great America, they're always intense and always thrilling. The intensity on the ride's signature version, the pretzel loop, feels like it is literally trying to kill you. I mean, it's almost unmatched by any element in the world. Those positive G's are just ridiculous. The force literally presses down ridiculously hard, as I said, but I freaking love it. I just love that feeling of literally bone-crushing positive G's. I cannot wait for Magic Mountain's Tatsu for that exact reason. That ride's going to be insane. But overall, Superman Ultimate Flight is just pure fun with a really good bit of intensity.
Papa,
What?
remember how you thought you were gonna be sick?
What?
Remember how you thought you were gonna be sick?
Yeah.
Might not have been a great idea to eat before this.
What?
At number 5, we have Bizarro / Medusa. Of course, now renamed and rethemed to Medusa. Bizarro is the B&M floorless. In fact, the original B&M floorless coaster. And for a B&M looper, it's probably middle of the pack for me. Just got that retheme, which I think will really help the ride, make it look nice, give it more of a darker theme with the Medusa name. So I like it. And with 7 inversions, it is a great ride. It just doesn't stack up against rides like Superman Krypton Coaster in terms of B&M loopers, or the Hulk or Kumba. Just simply can't match the intensity. But, you know, it's just not there. But I got a double ride. This is something I want to really put up there. I got a double ride after I criticized the operations, and a ride op wanted to prove a point. So he put me in an empty seat and got the train out in under a minute. That empty seat was in the front row, which I rode on the previous ride. So I got a double ride. So I stood corrected, and all I could say was, good job, man. Do not get me wrong, the intensity is still solid, and it is a fun looper. Just not as good as other B&M loopers out there. And it's still, again, any B&M looper is reliable and will reliably give you a solid ride experience every single time. At number 4, we have King Ka, the Intamin Strata Coaster. Standing at 456 feet, this is pretty much by far the tallest coaster in the world. I mean, 36 feet taller than its next best thing at Dragster, and Dragster's feature is a little bit murky at the moment. So this is the last standing and operating Strata coaster currently full circuit, and features an intense hydraulic launch that is very powerful, even more so than Top Thrill Dragster on paper. But just a little hint, Dragster is still somehow better. I'm not sure why. It just kind of, I don't know. But King Ka did fall short of my lofty expectations for it to exceed my love for Dragster. That being said, I did ride in the back, so that may be why. I will be sure to return to the park in the future and give it another shot in the front row. Overall, it's still a great ride, just not quite Dragster level. And overall, like, the forces are still awesome. Great airtime on that camelback. I think that was a nice touch for Intamin to put in on their second try. So overall, it's a solid ride. It just didn't really meet up with those expectations I had for it, but they were pretty high. At number 3, we have Green Lantern, the B&M stand-up coaster. Yes, it is a stand-up, and I agree that in the back, this is a top 10 worst coaster in the world. But then I got a front row ride, and was absolutely blown away. The intensity is nearly unmatched by any other B&M standard or stand-up looper, and taking those inversions standing proved to be simply insane. Had it not had a 2-hour line, I would have done it again in the front row, but I had to settle for one total front row ride. This is an elite B&M looper, and I will not be convinced of otherwise, and one of the last of a dying breed, although the Surf Coaster may just change that. Who knows? But overall, Green Lantern is intense, very intense, and it really brought the positive G's, and it brought a little bit of floaty airtime on the first drop. I love those straight first drops on B&M loopers. They're rare and far between, but when you get one, they're really fun. So yeah, overall, this is a elite coaster when you ride in the front row. At number 2, we have Jersey Devil Coaster, the RMC Raptor at the park. This coaster runs 4 trains. Yes, 4 trains. And it's only like 3,200 feet long, which I find insane, or 3,400 feet. So that's pretty cool. It has a ton of airtime and great inversions. If the airtime was ejector, I would put it at number 1, but it is floater and flowjector, and as a result was a bit of a disappointment for me personally after riding Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster, which is obviously a superior ride. Although apparently it is hauling this year, so maybe I have to give it another chance. We almost did not get on it, because the first 2 days it was down when they shut all the Raptors down for that wheel thing or something, I don't know. And on the 3rd day, it vallied during morning testing, but they still managed to get it open, and I got a ride on this awesome coaster. Overall, it was an excellent ride, and I look forward to giving it another ride, but again, it still disappointed my even higher expectations, because while excellent, it just wasn't as perfect as I thought it would be, like Wonder Woman was. So unfortunately, it did disappoint a little bit, but it was still an awesome ride. And at number 1 is my most controversial pick of all time, Nitro, the park's B&M Hypercoaster. This ride is amazing and tied in a 3-way deadlock for my favorite B&M Hyper. The other 2 being Goliath at Over Georgia and Raging Bull at Six Flags Great America. This ride was running trimless, with the mid-course barely hitting when I rode, because they were only running 2 trains at the time. They added a 3rd shortly after, which I got footage of the transfer track, so that was pretty cool. But the ride was airtime moment after airtime moment, with some great positive G-force mixed in for good measure. And quite frankly, this is possibly Earth's most underrated coaster. People hate on this ride, people say it's terrible. And maybe when the trims are on, it is. I can see that, because trims can kill a B&M Hyper. But that upwards helix was almost bone-crushing considering it was a B&M. The intensity was really good. The airtime was exquisite. There was some floater, there was some flowjector. Not really any ejector, but definitely some flowjector in there. And overall, Nitro is just an epic coaster with some epic moments on it. And the fact that the trims before the mid-course didn't hit at all, and the mid-course barely hit, was freaking awesome. It didn't hurt that I was also in the back row of the ride.
That trim didn't hit. Woo! Look at that one. The trims are hitting. Oh man, it's great. Oh, there's a helix. Oh, there's a fence. Forceless my ass. Forceless my freaking. Whoa! This is one of the best B&M Hypers I've ever ridden.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click that like button and comment your thoughts down below, including blasting me in the comments. I know it'll happen. And subscribe for more awesome videos in the future. Until next time, peace guys.